Hey genius, what if I told you I could walk you through the entire history of ancient Egypt? From the time the Sahara was a green rainforest all the way to the last queen Cleopatra. And here's the crazy part. It's all gonna fit into about 11 minutes. That means we're skipping through 7,000 years of history in a single video. And trust me, you'll be blown away by how far ahead of their time the Egyptians really were. Here's something nobody tells you. The Sahara Desert, the driest place on Earth today, used to be a lush green paradise. We're talking rivers, lakes, grasslands, and even hippos chilling where there's now only endless sand. Around 10,000 years ago, people actually lived there. They hunted, fished, and farmed in this prehistoric Garden of Eden. But when the climate shifted, the rains disappeared, and the Sahara slowly transformed into the wasteland we know today. So what did those people do? They moved east, towards the Nile River. And that migration was the spark that would eventually create one of the most legendary civilizations in human history. But the Nile wasn't just a river. It was about to become a god, a lifeline, and the stage for everything that followed. The Nile wasn't just a river, it was the reason Egypt existed. Every single year, like clockwork, it flooded. And when the waters receded, they left behind rich black soil that could grow more food than anywhere else around. That meant two things. No one starved, and people had time to think, build, and create. Instead of struggling to survive, they started organizing into villages, then kingdoms. But here's the wild part. Egypt wasn't always one big country. It was actually split into two rival lands, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. For centuries they competed, fought, and tried to outdo each other. And then, around 3100 BC, a powerful leader named Narmer, or some say Menes, did the impossible. He united both lands wearing the famous double crown, red for the north, white for the south. That moment, it was the birth certificate of ancient Egypt, the beginning of 3,000 years of pharaohs, pyramids, and legends. But with a brand new kingdom came brand new challenges, and Egypt was about to build monuments that would defy time itself. Now we get to the part everyone's been waiting for. The Pyramid Age. These weren't just tombs. They were massive symbols of power, built to show that pharaohs were more than kings. They were living gods. It all started with a genius architect named Imhotep, who designed the Step Pyramid of Djoser around 2700 BC. Imagine a skyscraper in a world where most people still lived in mud huts. That was Egypt flexing on the rest of humanity. But the real showstoppers came later. The Great Pyramids at Giza. Pharaoh Khufu, also known as Cheops, ordered the biggest of them all. Over 2 million stone blocks, some weighing as much as cars, stacked with a level of precision we still struggle to explain today. And here's the kicker. They built it without wheels, cranes, or iron tools. Just manpower, brainpower, and maybe secrets we still haven't uncovered. The pyramids weren't just about death. They were about immortality. Each one was a cosmic launch pad, designed to shoot the soul of the pharaoh straight into the afterlife. But even the mightiest pyramids couldn't protect Egypt forever. Because soon, outsiders were eyeing this land of gold and glory. Egypt's golden age was dazzling, but here's the thing. When you shine that bright, you attract attention, and not the good kind. Wealth poured into the kingdom from trade and conquest, gold from Nubia, cedar wood from Lebanon, exotic goods from across the ancient world. Pharaohs lived like gods, temples overflowed with treasure, and Egypt became the ultimate prize. And of course, everyone wanted a piece of it. From desert raiders to powerful neighbors, Egypt found itself in a constant battle to defend its riches. At one point, invaders known as the Hyksos swept in with something the Egyptians had never seen before: horse-drawn chariots. Imagine the shock. Egypt, with all its grandeur, suddenly outmatched by newcomers with cutting-edge weapons. But Egyptians didn't stay down for long. They learned, adapted, and even turned their enemies' weapons into their own. This struggle forged a tougher, more ambitious Egypt, one that wasn't just about pyramids and temples anymore, but about empire. And right when Egypt thought it was back on top, a new chapter was about to begin. one filled with powerful queens, legendary pharaohs, and battles that shook the ancient world. Now we enter the era of Egypt's true icons, the rulers whose names still echo thousands of years later. First up, Hatshepsut. She wasn't just a queen, she crowned herself pharaoh. She ruled like a king, wore the royal beard, and built some of the most stunning monuments Egypt had ever seen. While others fought wars, she focused on trade, wealth, and peace. And it worked. Then came Akhenaten, the rebel pharaoh. He turned Egypt upside down by declaring there was only one god, the sun disk, Aten. Overnight, centuries of tradition collapsed. Temples were shut down, priests lost power, and art itself changed into strange, almost alien-looking forms. It was the boldest religious revolution the world had ever seen. But it wouldn't last. Because after Akhenaten came his young son, Tutankhamun, better known as King Tut. He died young, but his tomb, untouched for over 3,000 years, would later become the most famous archaeological discovery in history. And of course, there was Ramses the Great, the ultimate warrior king. He fought massive battles, built colossal statues of himself, and ruled for so long that when he finally died, people thought the world itself might end. But even legends can't escape time. As Egypt's pharaohs grew more powerful, the kingdom's enemies grew bolder, and Egypt was heading toward its most dangerous era yet. After centuries of glory, Egypt's strength began to fade. Pharaohs grew weaker, their rule shorter, and their once mighty temples and monuments started to crumble. The truth is, running the greatest empire on earth drained Egypt. Endless wars, corruption, and power struggles left the kingdom vulnerable, and the vultures were circling. First came the Assyrians, fierce warriors who stormed in with brutal force. Then the Persians, who turned Egypt into just another province of their vast empire. But Egypt's story wasn't over yet. Because in 332 BC, a young conqueror arrived, a man who'd already taken half the known world, Alexander the Great. He was welcomed as a liberator, and in his honor, the city of Alexandria was founded. For a moment, it seemed Egypt might rise again, blending Greek brilliance with its ancient legacy. But that hope would soon rest in the hands of one woman, a queen whose name would become eternal. And then came Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt and maybe the most famous of them all. Forget the Hollywood image for a second. Cleopatra wasn't just beauty and romance. She was brilliant. She spoke multiple languages, studied science and politics, and knew exactly how to survive in a world dominated by Rome. To protect her throne, she formed powerful alliances. First with Julius Caesar, the most feared man of his time, and after his death, with Mark Antony, Rome's great general. Their partnership wasn't just political, it was legendary and scandalous enough to shake the entire Roman Empire. But Rome was ruthless. Their rival, Octavian, who later became Augustus, saw Cleopatra and Antony as a threat. The clash came at the Battle of Actium, where Rome's navy crushed their forces. Defeated and cornered, Cleopatra chose her own fate. According to legend, she let a venomous asp snake bite her, a dramatic end for a dramatic life. With her death, Egypt's independence ended, and the land of the pharaohs became just another province of Rome. But even in defeat, Cleopatra's legacy lived on. As a queen who defied empires and became a symbol of power, love, and tragedy. Egypt's story didn't end with Cleopatra. In fact, that was just the beginning of its second life. Not as an empire, but as a legend. The Romans looted treasures, the sands buried temples, and centuries passed. But Egypt never disappeared. Its gods, art, and mysteries kept whispering through history. Think about it. Even today, the pyramids of Giza are the only surviving wonder of the ancient world. Hieroglyphs, once a forgotten code, were cracked in the 1800s with the Rosetta Stone, unlocking voices that had been silent for 2,000 years. And those voices? They told stories of love, betrayal, power, and dreams of eternity. The same things we chase today. From secret tombs still being uncovered to mummies revealing ancient medical knowledge, Egypt continues to fascinate. It's not just history, it's humanity's obsession with the eternal. But here's the most surprising part. Even after 7,000 years of glory and 5,000 years of silence, Egypt still has one final twist to give us. So, what's Egypt's final twist? It's this: no empire lasts forever, but some stories do. The pyramids still rise from the desert, the Nile still flows, and the names of pharaohs like Ramses, Tutankhamun, and Cleopatra are still on our lips. 5,000 years later, Egypt wasn't just about kings and queens. It was about people, farmers, builders, artists, dreamers, who all believed they were part of something bigger than themselves. And maybe that's why their civilization still feels alive today. Because in the end, Egypt didn't just master death, it conquered time itself. And now, every time we look at those monuments in the sand, we're reminded that humans, no matter how small, can leave behind something eternal. If you've enjoyed traveling through thousands of years of history with me, imagine where we'll go next. Hit that subscribe button and join the adventure, because this was just one story, and trust me, there are plenty more secrets waiting to be uncovered.